Hello my friends, welcome to my channel Discover with Kim. I'm Kim, I'm so excited you're here with me today. Welcome to this week's book vlog. This week we are going to be tackling my September TBR, so let's get reading. Okay my friends, so my September TBR consists of 10 different books. 2 of them are special books. There's a poetry book and a graphic novel that I plan to book club with my novel, but 8 of them are like regular novels, and I'm hoping to tackle all 10 of these books this month, so let me show you what the books are real quick. Out of the Ashes by Courtney Peppernell, Bury Our Bones in the Midnight Soil by V.E. Schwab, A Simple Twist of Fate by April Asher, Good Girl's Guide to Murder by Holly Jackson, 7-Year Itch by Amy Dawes, The Pumpkin Spice Cafe by Laurie Gilmore, Warriors Graphic Novel 2 by Erin Hunter, You Don't Belong Here by Megan Miranda, and Immortal Consequences by Ivy Marie. I feel like I might be missing one, but if I am, I'll let you know when I remember which one it is. But we're going to be reading my September TBR in this video together. So let's get reading, friends. So this morning I started Out of the Ashes. This is a poetry book. It is by Courtney Peppernell. She has a lot of poetry books, and this is her newest one. It just came out in August. I started it this morning, and all I did this morning was read like the little intro synopsis. So I've not read any of the poetry yet. We have started with the intro, and it makes me excited to read this book. It kind of sets me up for the journey that I'm going to be going on. And then I also started reading my first book for my September TBR. I wasn't sure which one to pick, so I had TikTok pick for me, and they picked Bury Our Bones in the Midnight Soil by V.E. Schwab. So let me put in the footage of me starting this book. So I started this book this past weekend, and I am just shy of halfway done. So let me tell you my thoughts on it. This book is following 3 different women. So far we're actually only following 2 of the women, but it follows 3 different women, and it says this story is about hunger. In 1532, Santo Domingo de la Casa, a young girl grows up wild and willy. Her beauty is only outmatched by her dreams of escape, but Maria knows she can only ever be a prize or a pawn in the games played by men. When an alluring stranger offers an alternative path, Maria makes a desperate choice. She vows to have no regrets. This is a story about love. 1827, London. A young woman lived an idyllic but cloistered life on her family's estate until a moment of forbidden intimacy sees her shipped off to London. Charlotte's tender heart and seemingly impossible wishes are swept away by an invitation from a beautiful widow, but the price of freedom is higher than she could have imagined. This is a story about rage. 2019, Boston. College was supposed to be her chance to be someone new. That's why Alice moves halfway across the world, leaving her old life behind. But after an out-of-character one-night stand leaves her questioning her past, her present, and her future, Alice throws herself into the hunt for answers and revenge. This is a story about life, how it ends, and how it starts. So, this story sounds really interesting. I love stories that follow different timelines and different characters that you know at some point are going to interweave together. And so far, they have not interweaved yet. We are following 2 of the different 3 timelines so far. We're about halfway through, and I've only seemed to have met 2 of the women so far. It seems this story is a lot about women and men and living in a man's world and that kind of stuff. I will also say this story is about vampires. There's nothing in the description about vampires, but it is about vampires. And there's also a good amount of LGBTQ representation, so there are a good amount of gay women in this book, lesbians, and yeah, that's kind of the synopsis of the book. So far, like I've mentioned a couple times, I'm just shy of halfway, and I'm enjoying it so far. The writing is intriguing, the characters are interesting, the story is interesting, and I think it's really interesting, and like I'm curious where it's gonna go and what's going on, and I'm curious about it all. Like I'm interested in the story, but I'm struggling a little bit because I'm struggling with like, what's the point of it all? Like, where is the story leading? What is the point of the story? What is the point of the characters other than them like going through this transformation and everything and like going through life, I guess? Like, what is the point of the story? I'm kind of struggling with that right now because I can't really wrap my head around, like, I still have 300 pages left, and like why do I care about these 300 pages, basically? Like, the characters are interesting, the story's interesting, but there's no, like, heavy storyline that's leading throughout it that's making me want to come back and read more. So it's not like I have to pick it up and keep going. There's none of that for me because, like I said, there's no strong storyline that makes me curious about it. Like, the writing's good, the characters are good, the story's good, but there's nothing like, yes, what's gonna happen? I need to know what's gonna happen. It's just like, you pick it up, read a little bit about what they're experiencing through their life, and then you put it down and you keep going. So I would say I'm a little bit struggling with that in the storyline because I want more, but we'll see if more ever occurs. If not, we'll just keep reading it and we'll see what happens. But that is where I'm at right now. Those are my current thoughts. I've officially finished Bury Our Bones in the Midnight Soil by V.E. Schwab, so let's talk about it. Okay, this book, I have thoughts on this book. So, this book is really, really long. It is about 3 different women in 3 different times, and basically it's about them becoming vampires. They also are gay, they're lesbians. Those are not really spoilers, they're kind of important parts of the book, important aspects of it that you find out pretty quickly, but that is what this book is about, and I liked this book. I did. I loved the writing. The writing was really good and interesting. I love that it was 3 different women, and I love that we're all from 3 different, like, completely different times. I love stories like that where you get all these different times and you get different storylines along the way, and you know at some point they're going to converge. I really enjoyed that. I loved, like, the vampire midnight soil aspect of it. I thought that was really interesting. I loved all the lore that was involved in it and how they talked about all, like, the different aspects of being a vampire and what it can mean and all that kind of stuff. I thought that was so fun and so interesting and definitely a great, like, fall read in that aspect. I really, really loved that. But this book is 530 some pages, and I feel like it dragged on. I feel like the beginning I found interesting and I was kind of invested, and then it really, really started to drag, and then maybe about the 300 page mark I was kind of invested again. I was really interested again. The story started to pick up and I was like, oh, I can't wait to know what happens. And then it just got to the point where it started dragging again, and I was just like, please just get to the point, get to the end. There's a couple big, like, reveals at the end that I saw coming, so, like, to me they weren't really that exciting. They were kind of tragic, and I saw them coming and I was like, okay, yep, that was kind of like the lead up the entire book. That makes sense. And then, like, how the storylines tied together and tied up at the end was a little anticlimactic, like how long it took to get there, and then if that's how it tied up at the end, like, it was just kind of a little anticlimactic to me. Like, things happened and it was good and interesting, but it's like all of this lead up and then, like, that was it. I don't know, but I liked the book and I thought it was interesting, and like I said, I love certain aspects of it, and then other aspects of it I just felt like they dragged and they were a little bit, like, anticlimactic. And I feel like there wasn't, like, a heavy adventure storyline to this book, or like a heavy, like there's a storyline and there was, like, things you wanted to figure out, but there wasn't, like, a heavy, like why did I care to keep picking up this book and read, is what I felt like. I was kind of like, where is this going? Why do I care? And then, like, you kind of get it going somewhere, and then that's when it starts to drag, like, the second time. But I thought it was interesting. I give it, like, maybe a 3.25 out of 5 stars. Probably a 3.25 out of 5 stars because, like I said, I liked aspects of it and I enjoyed the writing and all of that kind of stuff, but there's just other aspects of it where I was just like, I was ready for it to be done, and considering how long it was, I had to push through it, but I wanted to read it, so I did get it done and I'm proud. But yeah, those are my thoughts on Bury Our Bones in the Midnight Soil, and I think if you like V.E. Schwab and you like vampires, it's definitely something to consider reading, but I wouldn't, like, just casually recommend this to, like, everybody. Okay, it's time to pick my next book from my TBR, and it's like, do I want a romance, a mystery, or a fantasy? Because those are my options, basically. I have no idea what I'm in the mood for, so we're gonna pick that a little bit later. Like, we'll pick it today, but either a little bit later or this evening. Okay friends, I picked my next book off my September TBR to start reading since I finished Bare Bones in the Midnight Soil. What I did is I literally took my entire TBR stack and I read the back of the books, and then any of the ones that sounded interesting to me, I started reading the first couple pages, and there were two that hooked me, and out of the two, one of them was more tempting, and that was A Simple Twist of Fate by April Asher. This book is a romantasy book. It is about witches and shifters, and I do believe it is a second chance romance. Let me read you the back. The bright-eyed age of 18, witch Harlow Harry Pierce attended her first Fates Festival finding ceremony, certain the blue will-o-wisp would lead her to her fated match, her cougar shifter boyfriend Jackson Atwood. But fate had other plans, guiding her best friend to him instead. With a broken heart, all her belongings, and a vow to never return, Harry did the only thing a heartsick witch could do: run. 13 years later, she returns to her magical hometown with her half-human, half-shifter goddaughter in tow, hoping that not only would the town work its magic on the troubled teenager, but the local alpha of the Rocky Mountain Pack could help Grace identify and control her fiery abilities. Sorry that you can hear that train. Jackson Atwood was a shifter of few words and even less patience, until his mother retired as alpha of the Rocky Mountain Pack and left the running of things to him. It's a headache he didn't need, one that brought the witch who'd ripped his heart from his chest knocking on his door. Ever since the disappearance of the town's Fate Witch more than a decade ago, Fate's Haven's magic has slowly been going haywire. There hasn't been a fated match made in 13 years, putting the town in serious jeopardy of losing its title of highest fated mates percentage in the world. But now something is stirring in Fate's Haven, Colorado, and it smells like the past, tastes like change, and looks like a simple twist of fate. So that's the book I decided to read. I actually already started it. I'm on page 97 of, I believe there's about 340, and it's really cute so far. It is. It's really sweet. It's a quick read. The characters are pretty likable, and you get to know them pretty quickly, and it jumps into the storyline pretty quickly, so that's really cute. And yeah, so far I like it. We are just kind of settling into the town, and yeah, kind of starting the whole like storyline. So I'm really eager to see how it goes. I think this one's gonna be a really fast read, and I'll be able to get it done like hopefully today and maybe tomorrow. So we will see. But so far, A Simple Twist of Fate is really sweet, really cute, and it feels like it's just gonna be a really cozy fantasy, which I absolutely love cozy fantasies. Plus, it's like the perfect fall read. So I'm excited to see where it goes. It's time to chat a couple of books. So, as you saw, I finished A Simple Twist of Fate by April Asher, and then I started A Good Girl's Guide to Murder by Holly Jackson. So, we'll do a review and then we'll do a little chat. So, A Simple Twist of Fate was a cozy fantasy romantasy book. It was a really, really cute book, and I ended up really enjoying it. I'd say there were some things I really liked about it, and then a couple of things that I could have changed a little bit. So I really enjoyed a lot of things about this book. I loved that there was a bunch of different supernatural individuals in it. I loved the general storyline of it. I liked our female main character. I liked that she was a witch. I liked that our male main character was a shifter, because I'm kind of just getting into like the whole shifter supernatural realm, and they're really cool. I love that there was like a mystery behind it with her goddaughter and figuring out her shifterness. I thought that was really fun. I love that there was a second chance romance. I'm a big fan of second chance romances. There was so much yearning in this book, which I really, really enjoyed. There was a decent amount of spice into like the second half of this book, so if you're looking for some spice, it does also have some spice in there. There's a lot of lovable characters. Even like the side characters are pretty lovable, which I really, really enjoyed. And yeah, A Simple Twist of Fate, it was really sweet. There is a dragon in it in a certain capacity, but I'm not going to spoil it, so I won't tell you how. But I really liked this book. I thought it was really fun. It was a pretty quick read. Like I said, I enjoyed all the characters. I loved the romance in it, and I loved the storyline itself. And I really liked the town that they're in, the little supernatural town that they end up going and staying in or living in. It sounds so cute. It reminds me of like a mix between like Halloween, Halloween Town. Why can I not say that? A mix between Halloween Town and like Stars Hollow. It just sounds like such a cute little quaint town where like everyone knows each other and they're all kind of supernatural and they all have a bunch of stuff going on and they support each other. They have all these fun events, which I really, really enjoyed. So a couple of things that were not my favorite about this book. I'd say that kind of moved a little bit slow through a good chunk of it. Like it took some time to get to places, and then the end kind of tied up pretty fast. Like they really like got everything done and tied up really quickly in the end, where I wish it would have been a little bit more spread out throughout the book, where like it moved a little bit faster and then you got some things tying up like throughout the book instead of waiting till the end for it all. Another thing for me is there was a bunch of different like storylines going throughout this book, which was fine, but I feel like there was just so many different storylines that they weren't all necessary. Like they were kind of stacked on top of each other, which I think is what made the book feel kind of slow, because you had to like get all the storylines going, you had to like process through them all, and then at the end they like all got tied up really fast. So I feel like the amount of storylines, while interesting and fun, wasn't really necessary. There was at least 4 strong storylines going like throughout this book that were like interconnected but kind of like their own storyline. So there was a bunch of different stuff going on in this book, so that was a little bit much for like the cozy fantasyness of it. And some of the characters, like some of the way they talked and stuff, was just not my favorite. Some of the writing was a little bit basic, and then some of the characters, like the way they were written, it was written like I was supposed to know the characters. So I'm not sure if maybe some of them are from different books written by this author, like they were side characters in those other books too, perhaps. I'm not sure, because they were written like I was supposed to know the characters, but I didn't know the characters. I was a little bit confused there, but I haven't read anything else by her, so I cannot tell you exactly with that. I don't fault this book in that way because I haven't read any of the other books that would be on me, but that was just a little bit confusing for me. But I did really like this book, and I thought it was a really fun, cozy fantasy, so I ended up rating it 3.75, so 3 3/4 out of 5 stars, because I really liked it. I thought it was really fun, and I do think it would be a really fun book for fall if you just wanted like a fantasy romantasy that's a little bit lighter and a little bit cozier. It has a bunch of different like supernatural elements to it and a bunch of fun storylines. There's some good banner, some good wittiness. This is a great book for that. And then I moved on. I finally decided to read A Good Girl's Guide to Murder by Holly Jackson. I've been putting this on my TBR probably for the past 3 months, and I never got around to it, but I decided to finally pick it up, and I'm addicted. It is so, so good. Like, I am just over halfway done now. And I just want to keep reading. I want to know what happens. There's so many different like suspects, but I don't know who did it. I have theories, but I don't know. And there's so many different things going on, and I'm very curious. I want to know what happens, and I'm really excited to finish this up. I'm hoping I'll finish it up. It is currently Friday, so I'm on page 214, and there is 387. So I have a decent chunk left, so I probably won't finish it tonight, but I'll probably finish it tomorrow, and I'm really excited because I want to know what happens. I'm addicted so far. I can't wait. Honestly, I can't wait. Let me read you the back, because I don't think I've read you the back in this vlog. So, A Good Girl's Guide to Murder. This is a story of an investigation turned obsession. I get that. I see that now. Pretty and popular high school senior Andy Bell was murdered by her boyfriend, Sal Singh, who then killed himself. It was all anyone could talk about, and 5 years later, Pip sees how the tragedy still haunts her town. Now a senior herself, Pip decides to re-examine the closed case for her final project, at first just to cast doubt on the original investigation. But soon she discovers a trail of dark secrets that might actually prove Sal innocent, and the line between past and present begins to blur. Someone in Fairview doesn't want Pip digging around for answers, and now her own life might be in danger. So it's really fun, it's really interesting, and I'm so into the story, and I want to know what's going on. I'd say this is a mix. So if you guys ever heard the podcast Serial, this is kind of a mix between like the podcast Serial and the TV show Pretty Little Liars. A lot of that kind of reminds me of this book throughout. So if you're into those kind of things, it's like a mixture of that would be my best way to say what this book is. But so far, I'm loving it, and I am addicted. This one will wait. Cash is under the camera. It's never actually part of my TBR, so that one will wait. And then this is a if I get these done and have time, or if I want to read them in between. Maybe if I get this one done really fast, then like I'll read. So I'm thinking this one next weekend, so it won't be in this vlog. I'm thinking this one next weekend, and then I'm thinking start this one today. It's Sunday, so this one today, this one next weekend, because next weekend's the end of September, and then so I'm thinking this is a good like transition from September to October, and then this one in between if I get this one done fast. If not, this one during this week, this one next weekend, this one transfers to October, this one transfers to whenever. Cash is under you guys. It wasn't ever actually part of my September TBR. I just added it because I kind of wanted to read it, so that one's just gonna maybe transfer to October. So yeah, we're gonna start this one. Excellent news. As you guys saw, I finished A Good Girl's Guide to Murder, so let's chat about it. So, A Good Girl's Guide to Murder, I ended up giving it 3.75 out of 5 stars, and let me tell you why. So, when I started this book, it hooked me right away. Like, the storyline, the mystery of it, all of it, I was very much in. I was very much intrigued, and I was like, yes, I am completely for this book. I was kind of flying through it. I was thinking about it when I wasn't reading it. I was excited to pick it up and read it. I couldn't wait. And then I'd say maybe about halfway through, it did just a little bit start to drag. Like, you started to get some of the answers, but just a little bit for me, just a little bit, it started to drag. And then something happened in the storyline that for me is a bit of a trigger, and I wasn't expecting it. There was no like warning or anything, and it really upset me, and then it just kind of made me like not as excited for the story. It was maybe about like 70% of the way through, so it kind of like I'd been so excited for the story, and I was so ready to like figure out who did it and guess what happens, and I was just a little bit disappointed that that trigger was in there and I wasn't expecting it, and it wasn't really necessary, honestly. It was not necessary in my opinion. Like, she could have put a similar situation in there where the fact of my trigger did not occur, but alas, I did not write the book. But that trigger did definitely bump it down a little bit for me, because like it felt like it was kind of pointless, and it was kind of just more for like the shock factor, and it wasn't really necessary in my opinion. So I didn't love that trigger. I'm not going to tell you guys what it is because I'm not trying to give any spoilers here, but I did not love that. So that definitely knocked it down a little bit for me, but I was still really into the book, and I was curious what was going to happen, so I was like, I'm going to keep reading and I want to know what's going to happen. So I finished it up, and it was really good. It was really interesting. I would say there were definitely some twists and turns throughout it. There was one twist that I predicted, the big part of the twist, but like the intricacies of the twist, that I was shocked about. I was like, I did not see that coming. So that I was surprised about. The people that did it, the people involved in the situation, I guess I'll say. The people involved in the situation, I kind of predicted. I had 3 people that I were thinking was involved in the situation, and out of those 3 of mine, 2 of them were involved in the situation. I'm going to tell you how many people were involved in the situation and to what extent they were involved, but I'd say 2 of them were involved in the situation, and it was a really good book. I will say I really did enjoy it, and without that trigger, it probably would have been 4 stars. 4.25, I'd say it probably would have been 4 stars without that trigger. So I would highly recommend it, and I am going to pick up the next one when it comes out in the fancy version. So it is out in like the regular version, but since I have the stenciled edges in this version, I'm gonna get the stenciled edges in the next one, which I believe comes out in November. So in a couple months, I'll be picking up book 2, and I plan to read book 2 because I did enjoy it, and I found it really interesting, and I thought it was really, like, it was a fast read. The storyline, the mystery of it was really fun, and I liked all the different ways that things like kind of tied together, but also didn't tie together, how people looked guilty, but they just had their own secrets, and everything that was going on, I thought was really fun and really interesting. So I am excited to read the next one. And yeah, I really did like this one, and I see why so many people love it, like why so many people recommend it, because I think it's a really fun mystery. It's really intriguing, and yeah, it's really enjoyable. Like I said earlier, it does really remind me of a mix between like the Serial podcast and like Pretty Little Liars, because honestly that's just kind of what I see. Maybe a little bit of like Gilmore Girls because it's a small town, but that's really it, because like it's really more like, well, Pretty Little Liars was a small town, so I'd say it's more like Pretty Little Liar-esque slash serial podcast. But yeah, I enjoyed it a lot, and I would recommend you read it if you like mystery thrillers, especially like young adult ones. It was really fun and really interesting. And then, as you guys saw, I decided I was going to start Immortal Consequences next. So I started it last night, but I was so tired that my eyes were just burning. So I only read like the first couple of pages, and I'm honestly probably going to reread them because I don't remember them that much. But I'm going to read you what it is about before we get reading. Immortal Consequences by Ivy Marie. Welcome to Blackwood Academy, the legendary school located on the fringes of the afterlife. Once a pupil enters the academy's arched gates, there is no way out except for the decennial, a once-in-a-decade celebration in which a single worthy student is tested and given a choice: graduate and join Blackwood's magical elite, or cross over to the mysterious other side. This time, though, the rules have changed. The decennial isn't a celebration. It's a competition, and there can only be one victor. Two academic arch rivals, whose strange connections blurs the line between obsession and hate, one girl driven solely by ambition and another plagued by memories of the love she lost, and a charming playboy who never cared for anyone until he met the academy's newest student. Each of these 6 students has their own motivation to win, their own secret to hide. But what none of them know, they aren't the only ones playing Blackwood's game, and if they lose, some fates are worse than death. So I'm really excited for it. It is just shy of 500 pages. It's 495 pages. It looks like it is from several different viewpoints, so I'm really excited for that. It is a academic romantasy. I believe it's like young adult-esque, so I'm excited to read it. I'm excited to dig into it, so I'm going to dig into it tonight. And yeah, keep reading it. And then, as you guys heard yesterday, my plan is to read this and then to move on to the Pumpkin Spice Cafe and You Belong Here. You Belong Here if I have time, and then the Pumpkin Spice Cafe as my final book in September, because it feels like the perfect transition book for me from September to October. But that will not be in this vlog because that is the end of this week. That's how much I've read so far in September of my September TBR. Today is currently the 22nd, so that's all the books I've gotten through by the 22nd of September. That means I have about 9 days left. I'm hoping to finish 2 to 3 more books, and I'm really excited about it. You guys will see all of those in my September wrap-up, which will be coming in a few weeks, and we'll chat about them all then. But for now, this is goodbye. I'd love to hear what books you are reading down below. What's on your September TBR? How is it going for you? Are you getting through it? And what are you reading this week? I hope you guys have a fabulous week. Do well, my friends. Read some books and go discover. Bye. I'm excited to dig in.